In this lesson, Shaykh Abdul Razzaq al-Badr explains a major hadith of Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma, in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam lists 5 collective sins and the 5 types of collective punishments that follow them. This hadith becomes the framework for discussing how certain widespread sins open the door to public calamities. Open sexual immorality. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that when fahisha, such as fornication, and even worse acts like sodomy, appears in a people and they commit it openly, Allah tests them with plagues and diseases unknown to previous generations. Shaykh Abdul Razzaq al-Badr explains that this includes new illnesses with no prior medical experience and hard-to-find treatments, turning the forbidden pleasure into lasting sickness and pain, as a punishment exactly matching the nature of the sin. Cheating in measures and weights. When people cheat in the measure and the scale, underpay, manipulate invoices, and consume wealth unjustly, they are punished with years of hardship, drought, high cost of living, and unjust rulers. The Shaykh links this to the verse, وَكَذَلِكَ نُوَلِّي بَعْضَ الظَّالِمِينَ بَعْضًا. Allah allows one group of wrongdoers to be ruled by another group of wrongdoers, as a reflection of their own injustice. Withholding zakat. When people refuse to pay zakat, Allah withholds the rain from them. The hadith specifies that if it were not for the animals, they would receive no rain at all. The Shaykh clarifies that the small amount of rain that sometimes falls is primarily for the benefit of animals, and humans only share in it. The punishment clearly matches the sin. They blocked the right of Allah and the poor in their wealth, so Allah blocks the water that sustains their crops and livestock. Betraying covenants and treaties. When a community breaks covenants and agreements, Allah sends an external enemy to take some of what is in their hands. This is a punishment of the same type. They did not respect their own commitments, so they experience the pain of having their security and property violated by others. Rulers abandoning Allah's revelation. When leaders stop ruling by what Allah has revealed, Allah causes their violence and conflict to turn inward. Civil strife, internal wars, loss of security, and widespread corruption. The Shaykh makes clear that this is not limited to courts only, but to sidelining divine guidance from laws, policies, and societal life in general. After this hadith, Ibn al-Qayyim, as read by the Shaykh, brings another narration about Bani Israel. They used to see someone committing sins. At first they would advise him, but then they would sit with him, eat and drink with him, as if they had never seen his sin. Allah then united their hearts in misguidance and cursed them, as indicated in the verse, كَانُوا لَا يَتَنَاهَوْنَ عَنْ مُنْكَرٍ فَعَلُوهُ. The Shaykh explains that merely disapproving in the heart, while normalizing the sin socially, is not enough when one has the ability to advise and distance himself. A significant part of the lesson deals with earthquakes and tremors. Through reports collected by Ibn Abi al-Dunya, Ibn al-Qayyim quotes statements from Umar ibn al-Khattab, Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz, and others who regarded earthquakes as a divine reproach, atab. Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz wrote to the regions after a tremor, ordering people to go out, give charity, increase istighfar, and recite the repentant supplications of Adam, Noah, and Yunus, alayhim salam, so that charity would extinguish Allah's anger and istighfar would repel harm and bring blessings. The Shaykh notes that not every chain quoted is authentic, but the overall concept is confirmed in the Quran. Allah sends signs as warnings and wake-up calls, not as random destruction. This matches the verse, وَمَا نُرْسِلُ بِالْآيَاتِ إِلَّا تَخْوِيفًا. We do not send the signs except as a means of fear, warning. The lesson concludes with the hadith of Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma. When people become obsessed with dinar and dirham, practice contracts like aina, which disguise riba, chase the tails of cows, i.e. become absorbed in agriculture and worldly gains, and abandon jihad, Allah will place over them a humiliation that He will not remove until they return to their religion. Shaykh Abdul Razzaq al-Badr explains that lifting widespread humiliation and calamities requires more than material tactics. It requires a sincere return to Tawheed, justice, zakat, chastity, and the duty of enjoining good and forbidding evil.